Good morning, everyone. My name is Jacklin, and I am here with Dr. Stan du Plessis for another Meet the Management interview about what is the future of the business of education. Welcome, Dr. du Plessis. Thank you for joining us today. Before we start, can you give us a bit more information about yourself, your position in STADIO, and maybe a bit more of your background?
I'm an economist by training. I've been in higher education for more than a quarter of a century. Previously, I was a professor of macroeconomics and formerly an executive at public higher education in the country. And for the last year almost, I've been the CEO of STADIO Higher Education. So I made a move to private higher education. And I did that because I think private higher education offers some of the most exciting opportunities to help address the difficulties and the tremendous opportunities of total higher education in South Africa.
What is the investment proposition for STADIO as a listed business?
STADIO as a listed business has been a success for the last 5 years. As you know, the market analysts have rated STADIO actually remarkably highly as a successful business. And let me tell you why. The results speak for themselves. We've delivered very strong financial results on an annual basis, strong in terms of profitability as well as cash flow, but also with a strong balance sheet. In other words, we don't carry a lot of debt. So we are both strong from a balance sheet perspective and from an income and cash flow perspective. Now, how do we achieve that? How do we achieve that in a sector that actually has a reputation of being a difficult business to be in? And we do so by bringing a perspective of unlocking efficiency right through the academic design and delivery process. That's something you have to do deliberately. We don't just do academics in the way that academics has been done for the last 1,000 years, which is the history of the modern university system. We took a step back and say we are going to redesign the academic process, and we are going to take that business process from a business perspective and unlock the efficiency of it. And that's what we have done successfully. And that's why analysts have rated STADIO as an attractive investment opportunity. And our commitment is to maintain that and to build on it through strong growth. As you know, we've grown quite strongly over the first 5 years of STADIO's history. And at this point in time, we've got more than 40,000 students in STADIO higher education. In the first 5 years, we have delivered more than 36,000 qualifications. And this means that we are making a tremendous impact on society. And as I said, we do so with strong financials. What we are trying to show here is we are trying to show that you can do good business. And by good business, we mean business that is good for the country, but is also sound business from a financial perspective.
What are the challenges and opportunities in the business of education, particularly in the context of the growing gap between academic learning and workplace readiness?
Yeah, you put your finger on it. Our challenge is to make sure that we offer qualifications that are both accessible. And by accessible, I mean in a country with such a diverse school system where potential students arrive, some with tremendously strong academic background, others with regrettably weak academic backgrounds. In that environment, we must be able to offer entrance points for all of these potential students. That's a challenge that we want to wrestle with, because we believe we shouldn't just offer opportunities for those students who have had the privilege of a good school background. We want to offer opportunities for all South Africans, and we currently do. We also want to offer opportunities for students who are perhaps a little older, in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and into their middle ages, who have not had the opportunity to study earlier on. And we make educational pathways open for them as well, even if they haven't, if they've got weak formal education. So we use recognition for prior learning. We acknowledge the experience that they've gained on the job market, and that provides them an entry point to a formal qualification. This is very high impact work because this provides formal education for students who have never had that opportunity. And so that's a great challenge for us, is to make sure that we can make opportunities available to as many South Africans as possible from all walks of life. The second challenge is also something that you hinted at, is how do we make sure that these are relevant qualifications? So it's no good for us just to give qualifications. We want to give qualifications that will change the country. And that means they must be relevant to the job market, and to ensure that we work closely with industry to make sure that we design programs that are relevant for industry. We assess students on the graduate attributes that are required for the job market, and we get feedback from industry very immediately about whether our graduates actually meet their expectations, and we react to that feedback. So for us, those are the challenges that we're interested in. That's the gap in the market that we see, and that's the agenda that we've adopted for ourselves at Stadio.
So it's open to everyone.
It's absolutely for everybody. Our purpose statement is very clear. We want to widen access to quality higher education in South Africa, and that really means for everybody. And it is for school leavers, but it's also for South Africans later in life who still want to unlock educational opportunities. None of us will ever complete our education. So even if you've had the privilege of an education at a young age, the idea that this will be the last education opportunity of your career is just not realistic. In a fast-changing world, all of us will intermittently have to retool, now whether that's in a formal program or through informal learning, but our learning doesn't stop. And that's true for me and for anybody else too. And what we want to do at Stadio is offer the relevant educational opportunities repeatedly in your life. It's really a lifetime learning approach that we've adopted.
That is absolutely incredible. So globally, we've seen the collapse of many EdTech businesses. How is Stadio future-proofing for its business model?
We are not an EdTech business in the sense of the ones that you are referring to. We are not trying to design a tech-based trick for higher education. We have a serious higher education institution. We function like a private university. We are not called universities yet. That's a government regulatory matter. But from the sense that we run a real business with more than 40,000 students who are studying both in contact learning on our campuses and in distance learning. So these are multi-year commitments that we make to students. And as you've seen from our track record, we've delivered on it in the first 5 years of our existence. But what we have done is to identify a gap in the market, the strong under-provision of higher education opportunities in the country. And like any proper business, we have worked hard to develop a business model that can deliver on that opportunity in a cost-effective way. That's how we ensure that we don't face the existential problems that some edtechs have done. This was always built as a sound business from the bottom up.
And then my last question for you is, what do shifting trends in the business of education mean for employers, policymakers, and families evaluating the value of higher education?
Let's start with employers. They will have to be flexible. By the way, I believe many of them already are. By flexible, I mean they mustn't only have stereotypical ideas of what is a suitable qualification. So a suitable qualification might be a bachelor's or an honors or a master's degree in a particular field, but employers know just as well as us that that's only an entry point, that the actual ability that's demonstrated in the workplace is something different from the academic certificate. And a learner might also be able to demonstrate that ability through other forms of education, short learning program with microcredits, for example, that demonstrates that they've attained a certain level of competence in a field, even though they don't necessarily have a bachelor's degree. And in fact, we know that companies are already thinking like that, because what they're interested in is the actual capability of the student, not the certificate on the student's wall. And so we will offer all of those opportunities. We do offer formal qualifications registered on the National Qualification Framework, but we also believe there's an incredibly important future for shorter learning opportunities that are highly specific to the particular skill that you wish to acquire. And that is going to be a great opportunity, not just for school leavers, but for all of us throughout our careers. Like I said, I suspect many of us will become lifetime students. And I think that's a very exciting prospect.
Always learning.
The companies will expect you to always learn. And what we need to do is prepare ourselves also mentally, even as a young person, for the fact that your education isn't a phase of life which you're going to put behind you. It's going to be a way of life that you're going to adopt for the rest of your career.
I want to say thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. du Plessis. Once again, I'm Jacklin, and we encourage you to follow Meet the Management for more insights in the future.